Carrying on up the mass now, we stop off at the swash, and we've got to make up these ball links. These are a new ball link from Kasama. They're much sturdier than before, and they go onto these 3mm counter-threaded titanium push rods, which are very sturdy and very nice. The measurement given in the manual is to have 6mm between the actual ends of the ball links, or 34mm between the eye of the ball each end. So we'll make those up now. Now, because you've got a counter thread to make a turnbuckle, you have to use the wrench to hold the ball link in the middle, because one end basically threads on in a clockwise manner, and the other one threads on in an anti-clockwise manner. And with the ball links, they're unidirectional, as I pointed out before, and basically they push on with the K sign facing away from the ball. So the slightly beveled bit to the inside is away from the K. So have the K facing you when you snap them onto the ball links. We've got our 3 links reduced down to 34mm between the centres of the ball links, and they've been snicked on. They're very loose. They're really beautifully moulded. These are the best ball links I've seen, period. They're very loose and freely moving, but there's not a jot of free play in there, slop in there, and they really go on with quite a lot of effort, which means obviously they're going to have a lot of effort to come off. The swash is interesting, besides its obvious right-angled inner ring. It's got a bearing on the back outer ball link, which obviously goes up and down in the anti-rotation device. It's got a Japanese bearing inside, which for those who are interested is a 6804Z made by NSK, and it's also an adjustable swash. If you see here these 2 set screws, 3 set screws on either side, this is a way of adjusting for wear in the swash, and it's found on the more upmarket types. Anyway, we can pop that down in there, hopefully stick the roller bearing ball link through the anti-rotation guide, which we can then bring to the front and tighten up the clamp bolts, and then we can snick on our swashers, making sure they've got the K on the outside. That's the way that they go on. We're on page 29 now, washout arm installation, and this comes from bag 19 with the 2 radius arms, washout arms and washout block. The parts look even nicer out of the bag than they do inside. This gorgeous copper insert, brass insert in the washout block. Okay, the washout arms themselves, pretty straightforward. There's some ball links to go in the end, and the longer end, facing away from where the hub faces. The radius arms basically mount up on these expanded ends of the washout block levers with a pin in, and the pin is retained by some M2.5 set screws down here, and then the washout arms are mounted up onto the block using these 2 M3 by 14mm bolts down here. There's 2 holes available for the ball link on the washout arm, but for now we'll use the outside one as indicated in the manual. The outside ball will tend to make the cyclic more responsive, and the inside one will be more stable. So if you've got any beginners to 90s and you want a more stable heli, pop the ball on the inside, but if you want it as lively as it can be, pop it on the outside. I did find that these pins for the radius arms were very sticky and wouldn't go down the arms very well, so I've got a 2mm drill and just using that to give them a bit of a polish. So I found the radius arms were a little bit tight as well, so 2mm drill and having a bit of a remount of those as well, especially if the pins actually got to rotate in these plastic grips. So there's the arms finished. The set screw goes down into the end of the mixer arm to secure the metal pin that goes that the radius arm hinges on, although it's so stiff going down there I'm sure that wouldn't come out. They're not too bad, but they're still a bit stiffer than I'd like. Short of drilling these out, I don't really see much more I could do about that, quite honestly. You do the old trick of sticking a blade down between the plastic and the metal, which sometimes just eases out the plastic a little bit, and that helps slightly, but we'll just have to wait for that to wear in a bit, I guess. The washout arms are screwed on to the block with the ball links facing inward. If you pop the blue Loctite down the hole rather than on the thread, it saves getting any on the bearing. And you can do these fixing M3 bolts up pretty tight, and there's no need for any shim washers or anything like that, because these are already moulded onto the washout block. So pretty straightforward, and very free running washout arms on there. That's lovely. Now we can drop it down over the mast and click on these natty radius arms onto the backward facing links on the ball. Now I might need some ball link pliers to do that. There we go. And once they're in and they're nice and free. Okay, do the same on the other side. There's our washout arm in place with the links clicked into the radius arms. Right, on with the centre hub and seesaw installation, and this is shown on page 30. There you go. Now, I've just wasted an hour looking for bits. I thought I'd thrown something out. There's our seesaw with mounting bolts and ball joints, our centre hub, and where the heck is the control arms and the flybar collars? I have spent ages trying to find the darn things, and finally in desperation I have a look at the long box 4, which has got the flybar in it, and I pulled the flybar out, and there we go, lo and behold, packed in with our flybar in the long box. This is our bag 22, and that's the bits that I've been missing for, so I hope that saves you some time. Right, we'll cut these out and get on with the assembly. While we're on bag 22, by the way, Kasama does include you 2 flybars, which is exceedingly nice of him. These are 4mm flybars. They're nicely set up like everything else. They've got 2 little ground flats, more or less in the middle on opposing sides. And these are 2 lengths. These are 490 and 520. So there's a 30mm difference between the two. The longer flybar might be just a bit more stable than the short one, depending on your paddle weight. I'll probably go for the shorter flybar, I think, first off. Onto the seesaw assembly now. This is from bag 20. Now the seesaw is an interesting little item here, and I didn't figure it out first time round, so this is a redo video. It's got 2 orientations. You can either have the Kasama logo at the top, or you can have the part number down there. And the difference is this: there are actually 4 different positions for these linkage balls, these 12.5mm linkage balls to go in. These holes basically on one side and the other are staggered. So you see the outermost one on the back is slightly different in alignment from the outermost one on the other side. And this basically means that you've got 4 different positions that you can put your linkage balls in to set up the mixer head. And these are labelled accordingly: 1, 2, 3, and 4. And basically the orientation can go in either way. The important thing is that your ball linkage actually goes into the same number. So if you're going to use number 1 linkage, which is the outermost position of the ball link, then you've got to use number 1 ball linkage on the other side. Now the manual shows the ball links in the seesaw going in the outer hole, which I think should be more lively, all other factors being equal. But we'll have a quick call to Kasama and see what he says. We'll need our Thai secretary to be able to do that.
ค่ะใช่ตัวด้านในจะมีความนิ่งมากกว่าค่ะค่ะค่ะค่ะ
I'm going to use number 2 here, and you can't actually fit your seesaw into the rotor head with the other ball link on, so we're now going to orientate this, and basically we need to have the ball link on the same side as the mixer arm. So having orientated it the correct way, we can then slide it in secure it with our two M3 Srimok bolts. These don't need to be done up. These go through flange bearings in the rotor head. These don't need to be done up too tight, just snugly with some Loctite, of course, and then you can twizzle over and put your ball link in on the other side. So we'll do that now.